Good evening and welcome to the North Rock Planning Commission. We're glad everyone is here today. Have special issues that you're interested in. So we will start with our meeting. Please call the roll.
Banks. Plasko.
Here.
Chambers.
Here.
Foster. Phillips. Pierce.
Here.
Wallace. Here. White. And Chairman Clifton.
Here.
Move to excuse those not present.
Motion made and seconded. We approve those, excuse those not present. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. You have been submitted a copy of the minutes of our previous meetings. Are there any additions or corrections?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. They be approved as submitted. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. If anyone in the audience is here regarding the rezoning applications going on about Highway 130 or Highway 30 and Highway 391 out east of the city, that has been postponed. There will be no discussion on that today. So you can be excused, or we would love for you to stay with us the rest of the meeting. We are going to have an agenda change. We're going to move item number 22, rezone case number 2024-27, a rezoning from R1 to R2 to allow an event center at 524 West B Avenue. Is the applicant here? Yes. Please come up and give us your name, please.
Hi, my name is Monica Treat.
Yes, ma'am. And what are you wanting to do at this address?
Yes, sir. We would like to turn this into a small gathering space. We have a maximum capacity of 40 people. It is a smaller home. And we would like to turn it into something that could be celebrated in the community, place where people could maybe bring their child for their first birthday party, bridal showers, wedding showers, and a space for small events. I fell in love with this house. I bought it to flip it, and it's a beautiful home that I've fallen in love with over the last several months. And everyone that I bring into it feels the warmth of it. We love historic homes because of what they bring, I think, to our hearts. There's so much history in them, and I think that that's why a lot of people like these types of homes for a bed and breakfast or for a space like this. So just in the past few months, this vision has come to my mind, and that's what we're here to present to you guys today.
Okay. There has been some concern about the size of it and the traffic aspect. One thing that I'd like to ask you about today is what is your maximum capacity that you would be looking to rent your space out for if it's approved?
Yes, sir. I think the maximum capacity is somewhere between 35 and 40 people. Like I said, it's a smaller home. It's about 1,000 square feet on the first floor, about 1,000 square feet on the second floor, and the third floor was an attic, and we are turning that into a fully functioning third floor that'll provide about 800 additional square feet.
Okay. Ms. Treat, in the past, we've heard comments from different style of applications like this, and they've started out small, as your intention is, but over a shorter period of time, it has ran from yours being 35 occupants to 100 or 200 occupants. What provision do you have that would prevent that?
That's a great question, and I could see that concern, and it's real and legitimate. I think that, if this gets approved, I think that it'll be very fair to put language in there for the maximum number of attendees. My husband and I are local. We're not some big conglomerate that's looking to come in and, hide behind making false promises up front. So I have an insurance agency down the road. He owns Noah Treat Construction, so we definitely don't want to create a I guess, bad energy or bad vibes with the neighbors. So I can assure you that if we are publicly or even privately promising someone something, that we would stick to that long term.
Okay. Mr. Chambers?
Yes, ma'am. Let's just say that you have 35 capacity and they all drive their own car. That I notice you have approximately 10 or 11 parking spaces on site. Where do the other people park?
That's a great question. So I've got that with me, if that would be a helpful piece of information to share with y'all. But thank you, that's perfect. It is on a very nice sized lot in Park Hill. And so we could get about 10 spaces, and I guess it's a little bit, the road is up there. So if you flipped it, on the left-hand side of the home, you could fit 10 spaces. And on the right side of the home, if we were able to do the landscaping parameter at 2 feet instead of 4 feet, then we believe we could get an additional 5 spaces on that side to allow for 15 spaces. I think that in the event that we rented the home, I think that it would just be a lot of good communication with whoever's renting it, that we do have a limited number, that people need to carpool. I know in most situations that Noah and I go to an event, there's 2 of us in a car. So I feel like the 2 per car with a 15 maximum, parking, I feel like it well takes care of the parking concern, which I know is one of the major concerns of this.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm pursuing the way things work. Human beings are odd, okay? It's just the way it is. They're odd.
They're odd.
And I can see someone pulling up on the street, parking their car 1 or 2 houses down, coming to the event. Are y'all going to walk out there and say, sorry, please, can you move onto one of our spaces on our property? I mean, are you going to ask them to move? Or it's public parking. They have the right to park there, okay? But it disrupts the neighbors. I will say, you kind of hit the nail on the head for me in 2 areas, due process and spot zoning. Due process, and that anybody, anywhere can ask to rezone their property at any time. I can ask to rezone my lot in Argenta to industrial. That is completely my right. I have the right to be heard, the right to appeal the decision of the commission to the city council. I have all of that. You have that right too. And spot zoning, in that this is basically going to be a commercial facility in the middle of a residential area. So it's kind of a signature zoning request for me. But thank you for your answers. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Is there any, Mr. Harris?
What about the noise?
Yes, sir. And that is a great concern of ours as well. So the residents' concerns that live there are obviously ours as well. So as far as noise goes, we've already started to begin like a rental agreement. We started to draft this, so that way whoever would rent the home would be under these provisions. So one of the things in here would specifically lay out to the noise concern. In here, and I'd be happy to give this to you guys to look over, but quiet hours that begin 9 p.m. on weekdays and 10 p.m. on weekends. We would be very active local management. I mean, you're looking at the management, so if there was a problem, we would be very easily accessible, or someone on our staff to be able to get over there and take care of it. A part of the rental agreement includes that if we get a call for a noise complaint, that we could come shut their event down. So I think that, in the event somebody does rent this, I think there's a few things that we would have to be very transparent with them, that we could also put in here that no more than 2 or 3 cars at the road. So all cars must park in the allotted parking that is on our lot, and only, 2 or 3, I guess, whatever you guys felt was fair. Or we can shut your event down. And then secondly, the noise concern of we are in a residential area and we want to respect the neighbors. So in the event that they do cause a problem, we could assure you that we would be there quickly to take care of it.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Tramp. Is there anyone Mr. Foster?
Thank you. Do you plan on renting out the 2nd and 3rd floor? And if so, how are you going to accommodate folks with disabilities?
Well, I think renting the house as a whole is the, I guess, is the goal. The second floor does have 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. We were going to include an ADA bathroom on the first floor. So we were prepared for that accommodation as well as a ramp for entry into the home for ADA.
What about the second and third floor?
We don't have like an elevator or anything like that in the plan. I don't think that would be cost prohibitive, or it would be cost prohibitive rather.
Would.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this application? Do you have a combined spokesman for your group that could voice pretty well everyone's concerns? Come up, please, and give us your name. Excuse you, let him come up, please.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. My name is John Gregan. I'm president of the Historic Park Hill Neighborhood Association. And we had a meeting on Saturday about this request. And we had about over 24 people at the meeting, and all of them voiced opposition to this request. Concerning, the residents were concerned with traffic and issues and parking availability. As traffic moves west on B Avenue from JFK, B can appear to stop 4 blocks later when it hits Poplar Street, a north-south street. So those unfamiliar with it, you think B Street ends and can cause confusion. But if you go up Poplar, it's not straight. You can see it's curved, so you don't have a standard T-shaped 3-way stop. There's no stop lines. Residents and their guests park along those streets. So it can be difficult to navigate even by people that live up there. And for larger vehicles, school buses, city vehicles, delivery vehicles, it can be a tough route to navigate. There is a limited sight distance sign as you turn left and go west on B from Poplar, as well as a 20-mile-per-hour sign. There are on Poplar's, children at play signs as well. We want to note that there are no sidewalks there or incomplete sidewalks in the area. The streets are designated as local streets, and without sidewalks or complete sidewalks, many people are walking in the street, walking a dog, pushing a baby carriage, riding a bicycle. So increased traffic might cause an issue, especially with people not familiar with the area, and we want to make sure everybody is safe that's up there. The only immediate parking is along Poplar and B Street. Park Hill has a lot of old houses with short driveways, so many people are using the street parking, so it might not be abundant on occasion, especially in the evening when most people are home from work. The placement of 15 on-site parking spaces at the site was voiced as a concern as well, especially by the immediate neighbors. They felt the proposed privacy fence and landscaping to function as a buffer would still not provide adequate screening of vehicle and property lights as well as noise. The view of a 10-foot-high privacy fence by homeowners from their homes, from their property, their lawns, was regarded by an eyesore, is regarded as an eyesore as well by people in attendance. Water runoff is an unknown from a parking lot. Drainage is pretty poor up there on Poplar, and I'm sure Carol will tell us about that because it all goes into her backyard. So also with other utilities and public service, work that might be done that's going to be disruptive to the streets, to the residents as well. And so we feel that creating a commercial use site in a residential neighborhood is not a reasonable request. In addition to traffic, parking, and noise issue, there's a spillover effect once a special use permit is granted in a residential area. Other rezoning and special use requests may follow and may be easier to obtain once the first request is granted. These are reasons North Little Rock generally does not approve similar commercial uses in neighborhoods. North Little Rock values its residential neighborhoods. Regarding Park Hill, the city has designated the center of Park Hill as a historic district. 524 West B does sit 1/2 block outside of this to the west. The North Little Rock Heritage Center has chronicled the history of Park Hill and other parts of the city to preserve its history, and this story provides evidence to protect the neighborhood's structures and character. In addition, the city of North Little Rock, with support from federal grants, has completed its Jumpstart project on JFK from A to H Avenue. The project included overlay plan, walkability improvements, and landscaping and streetscaping upgrades. New businesses and renovation in response to these has already started. It's been ongoing since Jumpstart started. The city has also invested funds from the half-penny sales tax approved by voters in 2017 and 2022 to fund capital improvements in Park Hill and throughout the city. And these actions demonstrate the commitment of both the city and its residents to provide and maintain livable, enviable neighborhoods. So we respectfully ask you to please consider our comment and position to deny the present request.
Thank you, Mr. Gregan. Well prepared and presented. Everyone that would be in opposition to this, would you please stand? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Be seated. Is there anyone that has any other input other than what Mr. Gregan has presented? Okay, yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Chris Alley. I live at 913 West B. I echo the same sentiments that were just presented. My other concern is if this gets approved, what stops the floodgates from opening for everybody else to come into this historic neighborhood and find a home that needs some work and turn it into an event center? I think the Historic Society in Park Hill has done an amazing job in preserving the neighborhood and creating a neighborhood that's safe for me and my family to walk through without a lot of through traffic. And we like that the neighborhood is quiet, safe, and there's a lot of opportunities on JFK for businesses to go there. And the city's done a great job of redoing JFK, and there could be opportunities for a spot for them to do it there. We don't feel, me and my wife and our household don't feel that it is appropriate to put an event space so close in a residential neighborhood with so many families and with so little parking.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Alley.
Thank you.
Yes, Alderman Ross. Alder Lady Ross.
Hello, I'm Councilmember Debbie Ross, and I'm not here to tell you how to vote. It's just I wanted to let you know, and I know that y'all probably received a lot of phone calls, that I have received numerous phone calls, emails, and not one is for it. Every single one was against it. And I know that the neighbors right now, and I appreciate the work that's being done on the house. I love that house. I've been watching the construction myself, hoping that, you know, we're gonna have new neighbors or anything. And right now, just with the construction that's going on, the neighbors having trouble getting out of their yard. But, you know, you can live through that because you know it's for the betterment of the community and it's gonna go away. So they're already dealing with this and they see what's in the future with the parking on this situation. But I want to really, I mean, I am so excited about this house, but I'm hoping to see it as a residential home. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other? Yes, sir. Councilmember Hamilton.
Hello, Commissioners. Thanks, Chairman. I am not here to specifically oppose or support. I leave that up to y'all. I think y'all have ample evidence before you to make wise decisions, and we look forward to your recommendation. I came mainly to hear from the applicant. I have, in my years, have not encountered such a strange situation where I had not received any contact of support in any way for an issue and such vehement opposition that I was wondering what the plan was. So I'm glad I got to see that today. I appreciate Ms. Treat's entrepreneurial spirit. I'm actually for rezoning sometimes R1s to R2 just for denser housing and in situations where that may work, but I certainly would not, would probably not be in favor of a commercial type business in the middle of an R1 street. So I just wanted to mention that I was at that neighborhood meeting and everything John Gregan said about the opposition, I heard it as well. So just wanted to say thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Council Member. Any other comments from anyone in the audience on a different view than what's already been expressed? Any comments from the Commissioners? On the application, please call the roll.
I want to remind you that we have
received some emails, and I want to add those to the record. So you all received the record. There's about 14 here, and, you know, you received them, and we're going to add them into the record and everything.
Yes, sir.
So they are heard, and you did receive them.
Okay. Mr. Spencer was referring to the email that we got, basically from Mr. Gregan, the concerns that they did, and people that have sent this out and in their opposition, so we would put that in the record. On the application, please call the roll.
So are we voting on the rezoning?
Rezoning is first.
Okay. Banks?
No?
Glasgow?
No.
Chambers?
No.
Foster?
No.
Phillips?
No.
Pierce?
No.
Wallace?
No.
And Chairman Clifton?
No. That application did fail. As in the past, this is strictly a recommendation from the Planning Commission. You do have the option to contact an alderman or council member and to present it to the city council. It will take the recommendation that it was not passed through the commission, but that is strictly a recommendation. You have that option.
Chairman, they can also contact the mayor's office for
And you can
or get it on
contact
the
the
agenda.
mayor's office or to bring it up for consideration. Okay, item number 23, special use case number 2024-14, a special use to allow an event center in the R2 zoning district.
Chairman Clifton, since there was no recommendation on it being rezoned from an R1 to an R2, I would say that it's not necessary to hear item number 23 at this point in time. If it is rezoned, I think that we can come back in front of the Planning Commission and entertain the special use, but at this point in time, it would be merely an advisory recommendation that we couldn't do anything with because you didn't recommend the rezoning.
Okay? Then we want to just disregard number 23? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir. I would simply set it aside and we can come back to it. The applicant's not going to be penalized or, you know, discounted as a time on the agenda, but due to it not being recommended to rezone, I don't think we need to entertain the special use.
Yes.
So I would just set it to the side. And if we want to vote on that, we can gladly vote on that if the commission would like to do that, to make it a clear record that it wasn't just me, that you guys agree with my advice.
What should we do?
Ask the applicant, do you want to ask for a vote on this one?
Ms. Treat, would you please come up? You heard what our city attorney counsel said.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, it's your prerogative if you want us to go ahead and vote on the conditional use now, or if by chance you were to go to the city council and have something favorable there, then you could come back and vote on the special use or a conditional use. But if we vote for it now and turns it down, it would be a year before you can come back with that. So what is your pleasure you'd like to do?
We would like to withdraw the special use.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you all.
Chairman Clifton, this is unrelated, but just a housekeeping matter. I know that you announced that item number 1 had been postponed. We had a lot that were postponed. Do we want to see if any of these people in the audience are here for those?
That's what I was
Okay,
just fixing to do
perfect.
after this.
Thank you.
As I said when we first started, the Highway 30 and 165 and 391 item has been postponed, but we have quite a few others, so let me call those off quickly, and they have been postponed as well. So if you're here for any of those items, we welcome you to stay with us. If not, you're welcome to leave. Next item would be a conditional use case on the hotel at 210 East Broadway, a site plan subdivision
Mr.
at
Chairman.
210 East Broadway.
So you want to give them time to leave out?
It's still hot in here.
So now you're,
Oh, no, I'm cold.
okay, no, it's
Okay, thank you.
busy. Everything's okay.
Okay, please exit, please.
Quietly.
Okay, next item that is postponed is 2304 Young Road has been postponed. Rezone case 2417 at 2304 Young Road. Special site plan 2024-48 at 1701 Moss. Rezone case 1701 and 1705 Moss has been postponed. Special use for an existing warehouse at 1705 Moss has been postponed. Also, a special use to allow auto sales at 4701 East Broadway has been postponed. So if you're here for any of those items, they will not be heard today. Next in line on our agenda is special use case or conditional use case number 2024-13.
Twenty 2024-13 is postponed, Mr. Chairman. Items 1 through 9 are postponed, plus 19.
It's not.
Item number 4,
Item 4.
conditional
There it
use.
is, item 4, I see it. Sorry.
Conditional use case number 13 to allow a tire store in the C3 district at 4500 East Broadway in North Little Rock. Is the applicant here? Yes, please come up. Give us your name for the record, please.
My name is Ahmad Ashuga, and I have a company, City Tire LLC.
Okay, you've made application for a conditional use for a tire store, and in the summary, it is noted that it has been used as tire auto repair in the past. Have you been presented a copy of the conditions to consider?
Yeah, I give it to her.
Do you agree with those?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this application? Any comments from any of the commissioners? On the application as presented, please call the roll.
Banks? Oh, he left. Glasgow?
Yes.
Chambers?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
Phillips? Pierce?
Yes.
Wallace?
Yes.
And Chairman Clifton.
Yes, your application was approved. See Mr. Spencer, and he can tell you what to do next.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Next item, number 10, 2024-49, Lasker's edition
That's mine.
for credit union building expansion at 1501 Pike Avenue. Mr. Spencer, or Mr. Chambers?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Design Review Committee met and considered SD 2024-49 Lasker's Edition, First Edition, Lot A, Block 24, Site Plan Review, Credit Union Building Expansion at 1501 Pike Avenue. Applicant was present, agreed to items 1 through 10 in subsections, and the Design Review Committee recommends approval.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. This be approved as submitted. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this application? Any comments from any of the commissioners? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Mr. Chambers?
We also met on SD 2024-50, original City of Argenta lots B1 and B2, replat and site plan review at 120 Main Street. The applicant was present, agreed to items 1 through 12 in subsections, and the Design Review Committee recommends approval.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, this application be approved as submitted. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this application? Yes, ma'am. Please come forward and give us your name, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Paige Paul. I'm a Realtor, and I'm happy to be here. Not my first time in the meeting, but first time speaking up, so excuse me if, my ignorance to the process. I am looking forward to learning, so. Anywho, regarding the expansion of the credit union building, I actually have a daughter who attends St. Mary's that is just to the side, depending on if you're on Pike Avenue, looking straight ahead at the building, it's directly behind. And I wonder if anyone, I have no idea, even if the school is aware that this is being proposed. I know that they have started or they've implemented a new pickup procedure for the end of day for classes. So I know that it's already congested as it is. I don't know any of the specs as far as what the expansion, I guess, would consist of. But I definitely wanted to speak up and say that it's already a problem as far as being congested in that area. And then with the kids that are there, I know that they have a fence that goes around the school, but there is a play area that has been set for the kids that are after school there. So I wonder what that might have to do with them, in the process of everything. Thank you guys for hearing me. And again, I'm looking forward to learning. And it's the first time.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chambers?
Yes, ma'am, you're referring to the credit union building expansion?
Correct.
Okay, that was the one we just passed.
Oh, okay. Well,
But your
I need a
your-
tardy slip because I'm late.
That's okay. Your comments are accepted, and we thank you.
Okay, thank you all.
Okay, back to
Item 11.
item 11. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on that application? Any comments from any of the commissioners? All in favor of the application as presented? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, let the record show that I abstain on that vote, please.
Yes, please. Mr. Chambers?
Item 12 is SD 2024-51, M.A. Miller, lots D, as site plan review, pavement expansion at 5001 East Broadway Street. The applicant was present, agreed to items 1 through 10 in subsections, and the Design Review Committee recommends approval.
Second.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this application? Any comments from any of the commissioners? On the application, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Mr. Chambers?
Item 13 is SD 2024-52, Lakewood, Lot 1R, Block 60, First Pentecostal Church, site plan review for new gymnasium at 4500 North Hills Boulevard. Applicant was present, agreed to items 1 through 10 in subsections, and the Design Review Committee recommends approval.
Second.
Motion made and seconded that this application be approved as submitted. Are there any comments from anyone in the audience? Any comments from any of the commissioners? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Please let the record show that I did not vote on this application. Mr. Chambers?
We discussed item 14, SD 2024-53, Lakewood Addition, Lot 2, Block 45, site plan review of new restaurant Lane's Chicken at 3711 McCain Boulevard. The applicant was present, agreed to items 1 through 10 in subsections, and the Design Review Committee recommends approval.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded. This application be approved as submitted. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this application? Any comments from any of the commissioners? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Next item is item 15, SD 2024-54, John L. Atkins School Subdivision, Lot 2AR and 2BR, Lot 36, replat at 412 Prothos Street. The applicant was present, agreed to items 1 through 11 in subsections, and the Design Review Committee recommends approval.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. This application be approved as submitted. Anyone in the audience would like to speak on the application? Any comments from the commissioners? On the application, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Mr. Chambers? No.
That's you.
Number 16. Rezone case number 2024-24, a rezoning from R3 to C3 to allow future retail development at 4104 East Broadway in North Little Rock. Is the applicant here? Anyone representing 4104 East Broadway, North Little Rock? Would you like to postpone?
Move to postpone.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, we postpone. All in favor, aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you. Number 17, rezone case 2024-26, rezoning from a P1 to a C2 to recognize an existing office building at 5101 North Locust Street. Is the applicant here?
Yes, Chairman Clifton, Thomas Pownell with Thomas Engineering, representing the applicant.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this application? Is there any comments from any of the commissioners? Mr. Chambers?
Yes, Mr. Pownall, this to make the property no longer a Masonic Lodge, but a commercial property. The lodge is moved.
Yes, the lodge is going to put it up for sale.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Any comments from any of the commissioners? All in favor of the application as presented? Aye.
Aye. I think you need to call the roll on this one, Mr. Chairman, since it's a rezone.
Rezone. Please call the roll.
Banks?
Yes.
Plasko?
Yes.
Chambers?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
Phillips? Pierce?
Yes.
Wallace?
Yes.
And Chairman Clifton.
Yes. Your application was approved.
Thank you.
Item number 18, a special use 2024-12, a special use to allow a short-term rental in an R4 zoning district at 1215 Rockwater Boulevard. Is the applicant here? Please come forward. Give us your name for the record, please.
Roger Coburn.
Okay, tell us what you'd like to do, Robert.
Well, we were originally unaware that you had to have licensing until the moratorium came about of the Airbnb or short-term rental. So basically, we've got a fourplex there. We do Airbnbs. We stay about 30 to 40% occupied. We have high rates. A lot of the residents from the porches and Rockwater and the gardens actually stay at our place when family come in for holidays or weddings and things of that nature. We have some folks that come in obviously for the Big Dam Bridge ride, events down in North Little Rock, Dickie Stevens, but we're not an event center. We don't do any parties. We've had not one police response, not any fire, EMTs, nothing. We keep a very, very well-maintained place. We have sufficient parking that was approved when we did the building originally a couple years ago. But outside of that, I mean, that's basically where we're at.
Mr. Chambers?
Yes, Mr. Coburn, I'm going to ask a question. I don't know quite how the answer is. Which unit in the building will be the short-term rental?
A and B.
A and B?
Or A. Oh, okay.
You
A.
can only have, The way you were speaking, it sounded like all four were short-term.
No, we actually do some, long-term off on the rear and upstairs on B. So it's just
So,
A.
Just A will be the short-term
Yes.
rental? Okay. And one of the, I guess you can call it a hassle or you can call it a gift of the short-term rental ordinance is that a short-term rental creates a 3,000-foot diameter umbrella around it that no short-term rental can be within that area.
Right.
So it can be perceived by persons around it as a gift, like I can tolerate one, but at least there won't be another one for 1,500 feet.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Well, okay.
Do you have a comment?
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, we have a really, really clean property. We're proud of it. It's as nice as homes in Rockwater, the gardens and the porches. And, we're very proud of it. And like I said, we've never had any issues. We're just trying to be legal, so to speak.
Is there any other STRs in the area?
He falls outside the radius, just barely, but he is outside the radius there are a couple others that are to the north of him, that were part of the original batch that we brought through that were not in compliance with the short-term rental ordinance. But he is eligible to apply and his property is zoned appropriately and there's not another one.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this application? Yes, sir. Please come forward and give us your name.
My name is Toby Burkett, and I live in the residences at Rockwater. I serve as the POA president for my particular neighborhood. And I appreciate you asking the question and verifying the diameter to make sure there's compliance with the ordinances. We love our neighborhood. Mr. Coburn has contributed to the development of our neighborhood. We want to see it continue to grow, but there are lots of rental units being built and existing, and so all my sort of admonition would be that the mandate of the ordinance gets enforced, that there's a 1,500-foot diameter so that our neighborhood doesn't become overrun with short-term rentals. I know that's why the ordinance is in place, but as a property owner myself, I certainly respect his use of his property, and I appreciate property rights and his ability to do that. But just to ask for continued enforcement and pushing of that ordinance so that we maintain really what we would love to see is continued residential development and growth down in the Rockwater area. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burkett. Any other comments from anyone in the audience?
Mr. Clifton, Mr. Hoop.
Chairman, members of the commission, my name's Cliff Hoofman. We live in the Porches subdivision, with which all of you are familiar. At our last meeting, it was nearly completely, all of the members present opposed this short-term rental. There's been so many multi-housing units constructed around in the area that if we have one permitted, then that becomes evidence to support another. And we are of the opinion that the short-term rentals should not be put in the middle of a new residential area. Now, I understand that this facility has been used in this manner in the past. Ordinarily, we don't reward someone who's been disregarding the ordinances by changing the ordinance to comply with their uses. So for the people in the Porches, we would oppose this short-term application. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hoopman. Anyone else have a comment they'd like to make?
Hi, my name is Trelawney Flournoy. I live in the Porches as well. I serve as the treasurer on our POA. And I'd just like to add, we've voiced our concern about rentals in the area over time, and it kind of seems like our voices have gone unheard. I chose this property for the sense of the community that it gave, and we really do have a good community. And the concern too is a constant influx of strangers, especially in the mix of our neighborhood, is a major concern. I'm sure they have a very good vetting process, but we would like to stop the floodgates of all the rentals in our neighborhood. With parking, strangers, people really don't move in homes too with the risk of the values of their homes decreasing. We want to feel safe. We want to keep our community sense. So we'd just like to stop these floodgates. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir.
I just wanted to say that.
Give us your name again, please.
Roger Colburn, I'm the owner, that we're surrounded by the resorts at Rockwater. We're not in the porches, we're across the street. And we're already a rental facility. It was approved 2 years ago when we built the building. So it's not a new rental place as far as, it could be long-term or whatever, but we're not physically in the porches. We're actually across the street, and we're just pocketed in to around the resorts, the new development. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Goldberg. Anybody else? Yes, sir, one more.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is William Jaguar, and I'm a property owner at 1311 Rockwater Boulevard, just up the street from this proposed location. And I would like to echo the same concerns that have been articulated by the members articulated by the porches. This is just for myself personally and for my family. I don't claim to speak for anyone else on this matter. Thank you, sir.
Okay, very good. Thank you, sir. Any comments from the commissioners? Mr. Chambers?
I live very near there. I live in Argenta. We have 12 short-term rentals in a very small area. And we were one of the bigger pushers behind the short-term rental ordinance, and one of the big tentpole issues in the ordinance was the 1,500-foot radius exclusion zone around each short-term rental. That means there could be no short-term rentals for 5 blocks, 5 city blocks in any direction, 1,500 feet from the property lines. So this is basically protecting the bulk of Rockwater. Now, the apartments up west of you, they could ask for 1 unit in their apartment complex also if they were outside of the 5-block radius. And that would further give you another tent pole umbrella protecting your neighborhood from any additional short-term intrusion. So I kind of like the ordinance for that effect, that it puts a lot of space between them and reduces the effect it has on the neighborhood.
Okay, any other comments? Mr. Foster?
Yeah, staff, it looks like to me, if I understand this correctly, there's 4 units there already that are being used for rental. So by changing this to short-term rental, I don't see a condition where it's going to increase occupancy any more than keeping, and that goes the same, I guess, goes along with that is increased parking requirements. So I guess it's the difference of what we got here is these folks will be moving in and out on a monthly basis. If that's okay. Thank you.
Okay, on the application, please call the roll.
Banks?
No.
Plasko?
Yes.
Chambers?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
Phillips?
No.
Pierce?
Yes.
Wallace?
Yes.
And Chairman Clifton.
No. Your application was passed. See Mr. Spencer, and he can tell you what to do next. Thank you. Item number 20, conditional use case number 2024-14 to allow a tire store in a C4 zoning district at 4224 MacArthur Drive. Is the applicant here? Yes.
My name is Stephanie Dolphin. I'm here to represent Yafi Investments.
Okay. Do you, have you reviewed the conditions that?
Yes, sir.
Consideration?
Yes, sir.
Do you agree with those conditions?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there anyone else in the audience, or anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this application? Are there any comments from any commissioners? Mr. Chambers?
Yes, ma'am. I may be echoing Ms. Belasco. This property has been a terrible eyesore for a very long time. Last time we heard this in 2010, we were asking them to please don't park wrecked vehicles in the front yard. And they were trying to work out some sort of storage solution in the backyard, which they never executed, but continued to park wrecked vehicles in the front yard. And I realize tire repair is not, and sales, is not the same as working on wrecked vehicles. I understand that. I'm just wanting you to tell me it's going to look prettier than it did.
Well, with me being 49 years old, I can remember it all the way back in the early 90s. So yes, it's definitely been, it needs a big makeover. And we're gonna do everything we can to make that happen. I've read all the conditions on what we need to do to have a safe place for this, and it's gonna look good once we're done with it.
You just didn't park vehicles there overnight. That'd be a blessing.
We understand.
Thank you.
What are your plans for enhancing the aesthetics of the building?
What are our plans? We're gonna, it's gonna be a tire shop is what it's gonna be.
But I'm talking about, are you gonna paint it, you gonna add some? you know,
Well, from my understanding, there's gonna be people coming in, he's gotta remove everything, they're gonna do some painting. He's got a lot of plans, from my understanding.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments from any of the commissioners in the audience? On the application, please call the roll.
Banks?
Yes.
Glasgow?
Yes.
Chambers?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
Phillips? Pierce?
Yes.
Wallace?
Yes.
And Chairman Clifton.
Yes, your application was approved.
Thank you so
See
much.
Mr. Spencer, and he can tell you what you may do next.
Do I go to him right now?
No, ma'am, give him a call,
Okay, I
tomorrow.
will. Okay, thank you so
Okay,
much.
thank you. Item number 21, this will be a public hearing, case number 2024-15 for the resorts at Rockwater for a revised site plan review. Landscape revision at 1120 Rockwater Boulevard. Is the applicant here? Yes.
We are, Chairman. Thomas Pownell with Thomas Engineering. Laura, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Laura McKinney with Moses Tucker Partners.
Okay. Briefly, Mr. Thomas, tell us what the change is you're asking for.
So I'd like to simplify it real quick. One of the items listed as our request is to clear some of the trees on the river side. We want to withdraw that request, first of all. Oh, well, see if I can do that, right? Let's see if I can do it without shaking. Okay, I shake a lot. Not steady. Okay.
Be careful. If staff sees that laser, they want to play with it.
I know. Thank you. Okay, the next one I think maybe the most simple to consider is one of our requests is to move the trees along the bike trail into the middle, not reduce the trees, but move them into the middle of the parking and provide more trees in there. We had basis for that, but that has even been more enlightening in that we have talked to the Corps of Engineers, and they do not allow trees on their levee. And that's the only place those trees can go unless they're in the building. And just to be clear, I verified this with the city engineer. Staff's ready, is very welcome to verify that, but the city engineer told me, no, that the Corps specifically told them they do not allow trees on the levee. So that's, we had other reasons, but this is really the most compelling reason
Just to clarify, you have a levee or a seawall?
Levy. Yes. There's all kinds of technical reasons, but they just don't allow it. We can go it. And then I think Ms. McKinney's going to cover the other items.
Yes, thanks. Thank you. So one thing I want to emphasize before I get into the west property line is that we have no intention of decreasing the total tree count on this property. In fact, we may end up with more trees as a result of our plan. When this two-dimensional landscape plan was drawn a couple of years ago, it made a lot of sense, but reality is a different thing. So on the west property line that borders homes, single-family homes, we were originally tasked with putting a wood fence on the inside toward our property, but back to a beautiful iron fence on the residential properties. That fence would need to be really close in order to make it work, because from there down to our property, there's a pretty precipitous drop in elevation. On that hillside are a number of beautiful, mature, established trees. We want to keep those trees, and that was one thing that I believe was agreed to at the beginning of the process on approving this project. In order to preserve those trees and not create really what would be an eyesore for the adjacent property owners, we're proposing to change one thing about the plan. That's to remove the wood fence as the screening barrier. In place of that, all along the curb line on the east side of the natural tree line, we propose to plant very close together Leland cypress trees. And I believe that Mr. Chambers can attest to the fact that those grow very rapidly, 3 to 4 feet a year. And according to...
Die very quickly.
Yeah, very quickly. And they create a beautiful screen. There's some on South Shackelford Road that evidence that. And so that's what we're proposing for that side of the property. But again, I'd like to, yes, Mr. Chambers.
I don't know if you heard me clearly. They die very quickly.
Well,
in some circumstances, they're not consistent.
well, we do have irrigation, so that should help. And, you know, we should replace them as they die if that happens, because we do have...
You'd probably be better off with Nellie Stevens hollies, but
Okay.
that gets into my questions to staff whenever we're allowed to speak.
Okay, well, wonderful. If you do have a recommendation that's better, we would be more than happy to entertain that. So, but yes.
Foster?
Did I understand you say that you're going to plant these, I guess, conifer-type trees right behind the curb line? And is there an embankment that goes up behind there? Would it be
Yes.
more effective to plant them up on the embankment?
Well, so the embankment's tricky. Here, I have that.
There's a section, there's a visual section that we provided.
Yeah, it didn't get included in your packet, unfortunately, but that embankment is a pretty decent slope. And unfortunately, as the property next door was developed, the fill dirt was really concrete and barbed wire fence and all kinds of other junk. So there's really not a way to plant on that without actually demolishing those current established trees, regrading and putting more dirt in there. You see what I'm saying? So it's not really feasible to do it up on the curb. So if we put it on the same elevation as the apartment complex, you know, that's why we want rapidly growing trees.
What size plants the height of the plants you're proposing to put there?
Well, I think that is going to be up to the city to tell us what caliper and height trees they require, but I would, you know, trees, yeah, trees. Yeah, so we can entertain what the city would like us to do there. We're open to that.
Leland cypress considered a tree or a shrub? Are they?
Oh, cypress are trees.
I know they get big as trees.
Yeah, they get to be 50 feet high, I think.
I know,
Yeah.
I've seen them. A friend of mine has them on the
Yeah. Yes, Mr. Chambers.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. When I read the write-up on this, I guess my first question, what does staff think of the proposal? And the other one was, shouldn't we refer this to the design review committee so that we can have a more detailed assessment and see the slope and understand what's going on, rather than pointing to something at a scale of 1 inch equals 1,000 on a screen? I'd much rather, I'd like to hear what Mr. Spillman thinks of this revision, and I'd like to see the detailed cross-section and come back with a recommendation from the 4 people on the design review committee, then bring it here. I think that's, to me, a more logical way of going about it. In lieu of that, what is the elevation difference between the top of the hill and this site? Vertical elevation difference, 5 feet, 10 feet, 50 feet?
So the most change, about 6 to 8 feet, that's on your southwest corner. Halfway through, head north about halfway, about 6 feet, and then it kind of tapers down to
Level.
not level. That's right.
Got it. Other question, is the magnolia still there?
Nope. Not.
Y'all removed it or it died?
It was removed because of disease. Removed because it was diseased. We have documentation of that.
Okay.
Just to be clear.
Now, did I understand you say that all the existing deciduous trees would still remain? Okay.
Yeah, that's something we agreed to originally as well. So
So
we don't want to change that.
Is this something that requested anybody be notified? They were notified. Have you had any conversations about the notifications?
No, sir. I mean, we do have proof of notice in the file.
Okay. I respect what Mr. Chambers says, but most of the time that in my experience, we have waited for something like this and wait for another 6 weeks, and they would bring in basically what they've said, and I can't imagine them doing anything detrimental to what they proposed to start with. So I would like to see the commission go ahead with it today and grant that revision.
We still have people in the audience that may want to speak.
Right. I did want to tell you this, the better species, because Leyland cypress are prone to bagworms, which are really hard to get rid of, and various other maintenance issues. It's a higher maintenance plant than a Nellie Stevens holly. And Nellie Stevens grows 25 feet tall pretty easily.
Donna? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I make a comment, please?
Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Okay, I agree 100% with Norman. Chairman Clifton, I think we shouldn't postpone it unless the applicant asks to be postponed. We could vote on what they've asked for and get it done today. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Belasco. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this application? Yes, sir.
Again, my name is Toby Burkett. I live in the residences and serve as the POA president for the residences. And we were invited by the developers to go and tour the resorts. And we looked at the proposed changes in detail. I've shared the proposed changes with my neighbors in my development. And of, the 35, 36 homes that are in there, the only comment that I received back, really 2 comments. One was they hoped that the trees in the riverbank would not be removed or impacted in any way. And then really the other comment just a little bit of feedback that I've got, and is one that I share personally, is we're in agreement with the proposed change to not require a wooden fence. Our experience is that will become overgrown and discolored and non-functioning, and the wrought iron fence there is connected to the north and to the south. So that'll provide a security barrier, which is one of the things that we're primarily concerned with. We would like to see the developer and the ultimate owner of the property, whoever that ends up being for the long term, have some sort of requirement to make sure that they continue to use, as they propose, the existing mature trees that are there and maintain them. And then also whatever new trees and vegetation that you all deem fit to go in that place instead of a wooden fence. We think that'll preserve the natural aesthetic, so we agree with those changes. And we just ask that there be something that is some sort of maintenance requirement so that these things aren't left, they don't die, and the next thing you know, we haven't really done anything. But we appreciate them bringing us into the conversation early, having an opportunity to voice our concerns. So.
Thank you, Mr. Burkett. Mr. Chambers?
Yes, Mr. Burkett, was this change specifically presented to the 4 to 5 property owners that abut the property?
Yeah, so the POA presidents that were invited on the tour were myself with the residences at Rockwater, Scott Penrod, and Joe Fioriani, who are the POA presidents at the Gardens and the Porches. So we were all three present.
But the residents that have homes that specifically abut the west side of
Yeah,
this
that's my
development.
neighborhood, yes.
That's
That
your neighborhood.
information was shared with all of our residents.
Okay, they had no feedback.
The only comment that I got was, yes, we would love for there not to be a wood fence there, which will be an eyesore. And I received feedback from one neighbor that said, I would love it if they would not take the trees out of the riverbank levee.
Got it. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
And also in our packet, we have a communication from 2 of the property owners there in support of this. Any other comments from the commissioners? Comments from anyone in the audience? This is a public hearing.
I guess you close the public hearing, then we vote?
Public hearing will be closed and vote.
I move for approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
Got a second.
And please call the roll.
Banks,
Yes.
Plasko,
Yes.
Chambers,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Pierce,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
and Chairman Clifton.
Yes, your application was approved.
Thank you,
Thank
we
you.
appreciate that.
Last item on the agenda. There being 4 of them, we'll need to do these individually. Ms. Lane?
I think we're down to 3. Is that correct, Donna?
We are down to 3, that's correct.
We don't have the Cedar Street one anymore, Chairman Clifton.
Okay.
The other 3,
Will these be explained individually, or will you vote them as a group?
let's do them individually. There's explanations on there. I think Ms. James can probably give a very quick explanation on each item if y'all want her to, and then do a quick vote for each one of them, just so the record's super clear.
That's a roll call vote.
Excuse me.
Roll call or voice?
Roll call
Roll
vote?
call,
Yes.
since it's a revocation.
Okay, item number 24, revocation consideration. Item A, revocation of an approved conditional use 2021-06 at 775 Judy Drive. You have been presented with the ordinance that was passed then. Is there anyone that would like to speak on this revocation? Any comments from the commissioners, staff, Mr. Chambers?
What was this conditional use?
The conditional use was to allow the construction of a warehouse, and the project never got off the ground.
Got it, thank you.
Okay, any other comments on the application? Please call the roll.
Sorry. Banks,
Yes.
Plasko,
Yes.
Chambers,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Phillips, Pierce,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
and Chairman Clifton.
Yes. Revocation consideration, item number 24, item B, revocation of an approved conditional use 2021-10 at 3123 North Olive Street.
So this was a conditional use that was approved to allow in-laws quarters within the rear yard. And as you are aware, conditional uses are valid for a year. You have 1 year to either pull your building permit or to get a business license, if that be the case. They did not request a building permit within that 1 year, so we're asking that this be revoked.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this application? Any comments from any of the commissioners?
I have a question.
Mr. Chambers?
This is a conditional use. It goes with the land. By revoking it, is that a taking? Okay, just curious.
But they did not comply with the
Whoever was
ordinance.
affected,
They did not comply with the ordinance and the conditions of
Okay,
approval.
so they never claimed their right.
Exactly.
Okay.
okay, on the application, please call the roll.
Banks?
Yes.
Yes. Blasco?
Yes.
Thank you. Chambers?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
Phillips? Pierce?
Yes.
Wallace? And Chairman Clifton?
Yes. Item, revocation consideration, item 24. Item C, revocation of an approved conditional use 2022-10 at 5301 McClanahan Drive, Suite B1.
So this was a conditional use that was approved to allow for after-school care, and they did not follow through with getting their approvals from DHS.
Any comments from anyone in the audience on this application? Any comments from any of the commissioners?
We don't do this very often, but y'all did notify the folks that this was going to be done.
Right, we notified the applicant and the property owner that these were going to be on the agenda. And as you probably do or don't remember, we've been doing this for about the last 5 years. Every year and a half or so, we go through, see which ones followed through and did meet the conditions of their approval and which ones did not. Then we notify those folks and say there's going to be a public hearing before the Planning Commission. And I didn't get any response from anyone.
Okay. On the application, please call the roll.
Banks? Blasco?
Yes.
Chambers?
Yes.
Foster? Phillips? Pierce?
Yes.
Wallace? And Chairman Clifton.
Yes. Public comment? Mr. Chambers?
Just so we don't surprise Mr. Banks every time. I have asked over and over, and sometimes they do it and sometimes they don't, but they change the order of calling the names. It gives you a break.
And stand behind his issue.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We adjourn. Thank you. This has been fun.
1 minute after we started, the North Little Rock High School went into a hard lockdown, and I have 2 children there. So if I was to get preoccupied, my husband, my children, teachers, it's okay, but it was a bad situation. Yeah.
You say what? Pause it?